AITA for blowing up on my husband's friend after her wife died? My 36F husband, Ian 44M, is close friends with a woman named Jenna. They've been friends for a long time, before Ian and I got together, so I know her fairly well too, but we really have nothing in common, and we're not exactly friends. Jenna's wife, Laura, very sadly, and somewhat suddenly passed in early March. She was terminally ill but responding to treatment very well, and was expected to survive another 2 to 5 years. She's been leaning on Ian heavily for support, which I understand, but she's been at our house every single day since, even sleeping in our guest room most nights because she doesn't want to be home alone. Which would be okay, except she is getting more and more passive-aggressive towards me and weirdly territorial of Ian. I've reminded myself that I don't think I could stand to see a happy couple for months if I lost Ian, and to be patient, it's not personal. My birthday was on Sunday. I got home Saturday after a morning out and Jenna was there. I was making small talk when I asked Ian what time he made dinner reservations for the next day. Jenna inserted herself right here and asked Ian if he was going to be out the next day, and he said yes. She started panicking and saying that he couldn't, and she wasn't ready to spend an evening alone. I was going to tell her that she could still hang out here while we gone, and she looked at me and said, "Don't you have any F-King friends you can go with?" And I just blew TF up. "Don't you have any other F-King friends you can go bother?" and so on. She called me selfish for monopolizing my husband, and I had enough and told her to get the FCAK out of my house and not to come back, ever. Ian had been trying to calm things down between us, but it spiraled out of control fast, and he ended up escorting Jenna out and telling her that he'd come visit her in a few days, but he would be backing my decision because of how she spoke to me. I was happy for his support, and still am, but it's been a few days and I just feel bad all around about it. I should have been more understanding of her, but I also feel like she should treat me more respectfully, and I'm not really sure if I overreacted. First comment, she may not want your husband as a SECUL partner, but she may feel her grief entitles her to claim him as an emotional partner. Just because she doesn't want to replace you in his bed doesn't mean she doesn't resent you for taking up space in his life. She didn't resent you before because she had a wife, but now her wife is gone. Why the hell are you still around? Good for your husband for standing up for you. It sounds like you reached your breaking point with Jenna, and though you may have responded in a way that you regret, it was a response to her inappropriate behavior and comments. You could apologize to your husband for not speaking up sooner and allowing things to get to that point. I never intended to suggest you did anything wrong or have anything to apologize for. My suggestion re-apologizing was because it sounded like you felt you reacted poorly, and, possibly, the only thing you did wrong was not advocating for yourself sooner. I am clarifying as this has caused confusion. Second comment, agreed. You explained it perfectly that Jenna wanted him as an emotional partner and felt entitled to all of his time and emotional effort. I'm really glad your husband supported you after the way she talked to you. But you two need to sit down and discuss proper boundaries with friends and relatives. It's terrible that Jenna lost her wife, and Ian would have been a good friend to spend a few days here and there with her. But allowing her to be over every day, sleeping over at your house, those were all way too much. Doesn't matter if she's gay or straight, male or female. It's inappropriate for a friend to spend all of their time with a married person. It's inappropriate to have your friends sleep over at your house all the time when you're married. The family unit is you and Ian. Your home is your sanctuary, your safe space. Guests can visit occasionally and then go home, not practically live there. In addition, married or not, Ian is in over his head as a support system for Jenna. She needs a therapist to work through her grief. He cannot and should not put himself in a position to be someone's sole support system. It's too much for him and highly inappropriate to allow a person outside of your marriage monopolize all of his time and emotional bandwidth. You both let it go on too long and go too far that she felt so entitled to demand he blow you, his wife, off. Worse, on your birthday. She was completely out of line, but you two were doormats that let a third person threaten your marriage. You two need to much better boundaries. And Jenna's over-reliance on your husband, her sense of entitlement to your husband, and her complete lack of respect for you makes her no longer an acceptable friend for Ian. He needs to cut off the friendship with her, and he needs to do it with you present. She absolutely should not have interactions alone with him, and he needs to make it clear to her that she crossed a line that he, as a husband, will not tolerate. Third comment, first, setting up proper boundaries is safe. I will never again question what makes me feel safe vis what I am supposed to do to be a good friend, neighbor, brother. Putting myself first is not selfishness. I think I'm a kind person, sometimes too kind, and these types of questions come across my road now and then. I always feel like I am stronger than them, so I feel like I can always put much effort in helping them, even if it bothers me. I used to allow things just to be supportive when I would like to just say no. Second, I'm not supposed to be a therapist. I know I have much more mental strength. I also have the ability to listen even for hours, but I also need to focus on me. I will help, but if the person will take too much energy from me, I'll just ask him to go find a therapist. Most important point, I have had family or friends needing to stay at my wife and I place once in a while. I have never truly understood my wife being uncomfortable with them staying for the amount of time they needed. Now, it is crystal clear for me. I think I need to apologize to my loved one and thank her for being so patient with me. I used to tell her she was a bit selfish, that they needed help and we should be able to give them what they needed as we were in better position. Our home is a sanctuary. I have always said that, but now I get better understanding of those specific words. Don't get me wrong, I will still be helpful when I can, but I will also be selfish when I need it. Thank you very much. Fourth comment, first up NTA. That was a completely inappropriate way to speak to you in your own house after you've been very patient with her. That said, I've been through losing someone very close. Not a partner, but equally distressing. Because of that, I know lots of other people who have lost children, partners, etc., and it's tough. Really tough. Tougher than anything I could have ever imagined. I was a mess for a long time, and although I'm not excusing what was said to you, what Jenna needs is support. If you feel you have it in you, maybe you and your husband could have a chat about some healthier way you can be there for her. She needs friends around her more than ever, and although she was 100% in the wrong for what she said, maybe you could accept she's angry because of what happened, and sometimes that anger gets directed at people who don't deserve it. Should you put up with being spoken to in your own home like that? Absolutely not. Should a grieving widow be held to reasonable standards when their world has just collapsed? Well, maybe not. Happy birthday for Sunday.